Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to a special call event today. It's called The Healing Power of Shamanic Journeying, How to Access Inner Guidance from Helping Spirits. My name is Stephen Dinan. I'm the founder and CEO of the Shift Network, and I'm really thrilled to be bringing you into this sacred virtual space with a remarkable teacher. She's one of our favorite shamanic teachers in the world with over 30 years' experience. Her name is Sandra Ingerman. She has been teaching workshops internationally for many years and is recognized for bridging cross-cultural healing methods into our modern culture in a way that really addresses the needs of our time. And you don't need me to tell you that we are in a time of a lot of tumult and a lot of tensions and a lot of healing that's required. And whatever our political orientation or whatever our cultural orientation, there are a lot of divides right now. And so shamanism is a powerful methodology that can help heal those divides. So we're really going to address some of that today and how these ancient practices can help us navigate our modern challenges. So thank you so much for joining us, Sandra.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Stephen, and to be part of the Shift Network. So thank you for inviting me.
So let's begin with a little context. I know you want to do an actual ritual at the beginning, but let's talk a little bit about shamanic journeying and why it's so valuable and important, and maybe a little bit of the history.
Yeah, well, shamanism is the oldest universal spiritual practice known to humankind. We know the practice itself dates back over 100,000 years, and so it's so alive today, and there's so much interest in it today, and so we have to wonder what makes it still be so relevant to the times that we're living in, because none of us are practicing shamanism like it was practiced thousands of years ago. And I really believe it's a living system. It's a living practice that changes over time between the times that we live in and the cultures that are working with shamanism. And so one of the key elements of shamanic work, there are a few, but one of the key elements is that a shaman is a man or woman who takes what's called a journey outside of time and outside of space into the invisible realms, or what's called the other world, or the dream time in Australia. There are many different terms for non-ordinary reality. And in these invisible worlds, there are a wealth of helping spirits that might come in the form of a power animal or a teacher, a mythical teacher or a religious figure whose whole purpose is to be able to give you guidance and healing and to teach you how to live a more evolved life and how to be in service to the planet. And so the wonderful thing about shamanism is that it's a true path of direct revelation, which means you can tap into the work with the helping spirits and get your own information. You don't have to go to anybody else, or like back in the old days where there was one shaman for the community. We can't have one shaman for New York or a variety of other places. The time that we're living in right now requires that we all tap into our intuitive gifts and our psychic gifts and be able to travel and make those powerful journeys into the invisible realms and to meet with helping spirits who can guide us. And I can talk a little bit about later about all the help that the helping spirits can give us. But I also wanted to say that part of the practice of shamanism is connecting with nature, and that is so crucial right now, especially as there are so many people right now who don't understand that it's not that we're connected to nature, we are nature. And so defending and protecting our environment is so key, and learning how to live in harmony with nature, and that they're all the nature beings, the trees, the animals, the plants, the birds, etc., they're alive, they have a spirit, they can talk to us, and they're all part of the web of life that we're part of, and that we all really need to learn how to live on this planet Earth together. And then also, lastly, shamanism is a way of life. It teaches us how to think in ways where we can manifest positive outcomes for ourselves and for the earth, and how to use our wording, what words we use, because words are magic in shamanism. So what are we creating with our words, and how do we live on a daily basis with honor and respect, and what practices can we integrate into our daily life that improve our own health and well-being, as well as help us to be in service to the planet? So those are three key elements of shamanism that I wanted to share.
Well, I completely agree that this is such an important practice for us to all partake in as part of reconnecting us with the nature that we are. As you point out, we're not just connected to nature, we are nature, and that is part of the great task of our times, for us to become more sacredly aware of our deeper interconnection with each other and with all of life, and that's at the core of the kind of spirituality that can really help us transform our current crises. So let's, I know you wanted to have some ceremony time at the beginning to really allow people to drop in together, and I encourage all of you who are listening to really enter into a expanded space together, and to free yourself from distractions, put your feet on the floor, and really allow yourself to be guided into this greater connected ritual space, and there's a real power that can be unleashed when you do. So Sandra, want to take us in?
Absolutely. And it doesn't matter if you understand shamanism or not. Ceremony is just a real way to create change. And we have this incredible opportunity right now with so many people listening and gathered together to stand strong together. And I think that many of us can feel that the collective field of energy is really unsettled right now. And so let's do some work on this, because this is really important. So I'll be using some rattles. I'll be putting on my phone on speaker right now. And I'll be using my rattles, and I'll be taking you through step by step. So just follow me as we do this work together. Take a few deep breaths, and as you breathe, notice how you're feeling right now. And as you feel what is in your heart, with intention, take a step away from your day and thinking about all the activities you've been doing in the outer world. We are beings of nature, and so we also have the shadow and the light within each and every one of us. With your imagination, experience yourself walking out your front door and allowing a veil to open. Walk through the veil and step into a beautiful garden in the invisible realm. Just use your imagination. Your imagination will help move you into this beautiful garden. And as you step through the veil, You're met by spectacular fragrances and exquisite nature beings of a variety of species. Feel the texture of the earth below your feet and listen to the wealth of sounds that nature and the elements provide. The breezes. You might be in a place where water is flowing. Listen to the animal or bird calls. Look around you. And here with you in this beautiful garden of life is our extraordinary group that has joined together today. We take this opportunity to gather together to perform a short and simple ceremony. Feel the support you have of like-minded people who are searching for ways to improve the quality of life for themselves, for all of life, and for the earth. Feel the tangible connection of our hearts beating as one. Beating as one with the heartbeat of the earth. Our work with shamanism is outside of time, so it does not matter when people join in to perform ceremonial work. With your heart, call to you a helping being, a helping spirit who can stand with you in the circle. And in the middle of the garden, notice that there's a great cauldron of light. As we gaze upon the beauty of this cauldron, go inside of yourself and identify a disappointment, a hurt, a sabotaging belief, something you're angry about, a fear, some state that you're willing to sacrifice to the cauldron of light to be transmuted and transformed. With intention, send what you're ready to let go of into the cauldron. As you do this, the light within you can grow as well as the light of our circle grows too. The light in the collective field grows so that the choices that we make are choices that honor all of life. Once you have released the shadow state into the cauldron of light, go inside yourself and experience your inner spiritual light flowing. Your inner light is like a star that radiates in the night sky, or the sun that shines, bringing all of us life and reminding us of the passion of life. Let that light flow through you and radiate it like a star or the sun to everybody in our circle. Just let that light radiate like starlight or sunlight. Let that light grow as it embraces our entire earth, bringing light into the darkness. We celebrate the return of the light, and we start to explore the work we have to do to achieve balance in our own lives and the web of life. This is where the practice of shamanism shines, for shamanism is filled with practices to help us evolve into the people we were born to be. Gaze out at our beautiful circle of shining light. Know you have so much support right now from people as well as helping spirits from the invisible realms to help us regain our center, our balance, guide and support us as we heal and dream a good dream for ourselves and a good dream for all of life and the earth. The helping spirits and the support of our circle help us to navigate both the smooth and turbulent waves of the river of life. For now, it is time to thank everyone present, including the helping spirits we called in. It is now time for us to leave this place. Follow the path back to the room that you are in. Place your hands on your heart. Feel yourself fully back. Open your eyes. And we give thanks for our lives and for this circle. So everybody, make sure that you're back.
Thank you. What a beautiful journey. I could really feel particularly the political tumult that we've been in, just sort of being opened up to a space of a lot more light in that process.
Yeah, and I think that people are feeling so stressed out right now by recent events, and people actually feel like their life has been turned upside down into the deep unknown. The political events have really thrown us off center. And so one of the things that when we work with ceremony and when we work with shamanic journeying, our helping spirits can give us more of a sense of confidence that we can all work together spiritually for the higher good. And so it's really important for us to learn how to come back to a place of center and balance right now, because that really is how we can be in service to each other and to the earth.
I'd love to hear a little bit more about how to establish a relationship with these helping spirits. So first of all, how to know that we're getting something real and not, people can self-judge and say, well, that's just my mind is making things up, versus and start to develop a trusted relationship where we can go for this inner guidance particularly on challenging situations.
Well, first of all, everything about shamanism and shamanic journeying has to do with intention. So we start with an intention, and the intention would be to meet a helping spirit, again, either in the form of a power animal, a guardian spirit. It could be a little elf who might come into your life. There's such a variety. It's just so exciting to always hear what helping spirits come to people, or a teacher in human form who might be an ancestor or a mythical figure or a religious figure, or somebody who you really trust. And so what happens in the time that we live in is we grew up in a modern-day culture, Western culture, and we did not talk about power animals and spirits at the dinner table. And so now, everybody listening is at a particular age, and we were more conditioned to believe that the invisible realms, the shamanic world, is in our imagination. And so there's no way for me to sit here and prove to you right now, no, this is not in your imagination. How we start to really feel the truth and the power of shamanism as a path of direct revelation, and how much the spirits have to offer us, is by watching the results of the work, because in shamanic cultures, results were essential. If the shaman couldn't heal the people died. If the shaman couldn't find food sources, the people died. So over thousands of years, this has always been passed down as a practice where results are essential. And so what I teach, as I teach people shamanic journeying, is don't fight your mind, because your mind is going to tell you that you're making it up. This is what you were conditioned to do by your family, by your teachers, and by society. And so to just fight with your mind is really a waste of time in your own journeys. And so what I tell people is, while they're journeying and their mind is saying, I'm making it up, I just say, agree. Just agree. Yes, I'm making it up. And that allows people to go, it just frees us, instead of it being a challenging situation, to be able to go deeper into the journey. And then what I tell people to do is to watch over time the synchronicities that start to show themselves. For example, somebody might be looking for a job, and a helping spirit shows office building. And in ordinary reality life, 2 weeks later, this person goes for a job interview at that same office building that they saw on a journey, and then something starts to work inside of us of, I could not have made this up. And as we get information about how to improve our health, and the spirits start to help us do that, and we start to feel better, we realize, no, I can't be making this up. And if I journey for another person and I help them and they get a positive result, that again deepens our relationships with the helping spirits. And so what I always teach is trust comes from experience. You can't force trust. And so I've been working with the same guardian spirit for 35 years. And he hasn't let me down once. And so I, have that level of trust. And people who have studied with me and have taken this course through the Shift Network, I get so many letters and emails of how deep, they started out not really believing in the practice of shamanism and what it could do for them, and they just feel so changed and gifted by having these helping spirits who can help them work through their disappointments and their hurts, and help them to identify their authentic self and why they came here to the planet and what they want to manifest and how to stay centered in the midst of change. People are getting such amazing results. They feel so different as they continue. But the key is continuing. If you just do one or two journeys and say, well, that was interesting, I'm not sure if I was making it up or not, but it was an interesting practice, you don't get the rewards, the benefits of the work. It really is about staying with the practice, and then that trust comes. It always comes.
Well, let's go into the illnesses. You said that one of the things that distinguished shamanism is this focus on results, and that the shaman needed to be able to deliver on real healings for people in the tribe. So maybe share a little bit more about how a shaman views emotional and physical illness, and how you can do healing ceremonies that begin to help things.
Well, shamans are people who do divination journeys. A divination journey is a journey to ask a question and get an answer to it for somebody. And they also were responsible for performing healings. And in the shamanic worldview, there are a few different causes that are seen cross-culturally. Shamanism is a cross-cultural practice. and it was practiced everywhere in the world. And there are a few different causes that are seen to be creating both emotional and physical illness, because in shamanism we look at what is spiritually out of balance for a person. And a person might have lost their power, which how that would manifest from a shamanic point of view is they lost their power animal, guardian spirit, helping spirit, and that leaves them to a place of maybe feeling depressed, suicidal, always getting a cold or whatever flu is in town, never really feeling well, having long strings of bad luck. It's not just life's lessons and learning. Something unordinary, unnatural is happening here. And then in that instance, the shaman would go into the invisible realms and find a volunteer, power animal, helping spirit, guardian spirit, to come back and empower this person in their life. In some cultures, like among the Uchi people, the shaman will actually hire somebody to make a carving of that helping spirit and put it in the client's house. And with a power animal loss or guardian spirit loss, it's the role of the shaman to bring back what has been lost. The other thing that can be lost is a person's soul. And when you look cross-culturally around the world, this is the most common cause of emotional and physical illness. Our soul is our essence. It's that part of ourselves that keeps us alive. And when we experience an emotional or physical trauma, there's a possibility that a piece of our soul escapes to survive the experience. So any kind of abuse a person might have gone through, surgery, being in a war, being in an accident, the death of a loved one, anything that causes shock, anything that causes trauma for us, a piece of our soul can dissociate in order for us to survive the experience so that we don't get the full impact of the pain. And so in those circumstances, again, a person might experience depression, suicidal tendencies, immune problems, chronic immune problems, dissociation, people who are not fully in their bodies, addictions. If we don't feel like we're fully in our body, we reach out to food, substances, money, more things, whatever, to make ourselves feel more filled up again. So again, it's the role of the shaman to go and search for what has been lost and where that soul travel to, and to physically bring it back to the body again. And there's lots of different ceremonies around the world to perform a soul retrieval. And then if a person is missing their power and or their soul, what might happen is a spiritual blockage might enter into a person's body. In shamanism, this is called a spiritual intrusion that causes chronic illness like a neck pain or liver cancer or stomach problems, or again, it can be depression or fatigue because there's a spiritual intrusion sitting in your solar plexus that is weighing down on your energy. And then it's the role of the shaman to identify the intrusion, where it is in the body, and to physically remove it from the body. And then lastly, there might be a person, and this gets a little complex for people who are new to shamanism, there might be a soul that did not cross over at the point of death, and we know that from ghosts and poltergeists in our house. But if a person is missing their soul or missing a helping spirit, a possessing spirit might come in because there's an empty apartment to move into. And so the role of the shaman is to heal both the living and the dead by doing what's called psychopomp work, which is a Greek word which means leader of souls, to move that soul out of the body or out of the house. And so with all of these power animal retrieval, soul retrieval, extraction, psychopomp work, it's not usually just one of these issues. It's usually a combination that's going on. And the beauty of shamanism is, again, it's a system of direct revelation. So there's no one method that shamans use around the world to deal with these different causes of illness, in that the helping spirits do the diagnosis, and then they give the shaman a unique ceremony to help that particular person. And so what's so interesting about shamanism is no two shamans anywhere in the world works the same. They all work differently because they're working with the power of their helping spirits to bring through unique healing ceremonies that will touch and cure the person that they're working with, and then also to help the person afterwards look at what changes do they need to make in their life to make this a long-term healing and to bring balance back into their life again.
Well, you mentioned towards the end there about the power of healing ceremony, and I know that part of what you've been doing with some of your shift programs is also creating collective healing ceremony. And maybe just share a little bit more about the process of kind of linking shamanic journeying with collective ritual and ceremony in service to the larger healing in our world.
Well, one of the things that's known in shamanism is that there's an exponential power of healing that happens when a community comes together versus one person working on a particular issue. And that's always been known in shamanism, which is one of the reasons the whole community would show up for a healing when a shaman would work on an individual in the community. And so one of the beauties of working, and what I love working with on the Shift Network, is to bring people together around the world. And so one of the first things we do in Module 1 is we create an altar space. And we go into this altar space and bring beautiful objects into it. And it's a place during all of our sessions where we can come together at the end of the session, and I lead a ceremony for either asking for personal healing. So there are times when we do a ceremony where we ask the helping spirits to come into the room, supported and by the love of the circle, and to actually perform a healing for emotional and physical illnesses for everybody in the training. And there are times when we do ceremonies together to radiate light to dark places in the earth where help is needed, or to communities where help is needed. So what I try to do with all the modules is to do both, is to perform ceremonies where we all come together with that exponential power of community to help ourselves on a personal level, but we always do something also in behalf of the environment, or if terrorism has gone on somewhere, we'll do a ceremony to bring help to that particular area, or some troubled area on the planet, or to the earth itself. We work with doing healing ceremonies in behalf of all of life.
Beautiful. Well, let's circle back to just the importance of journeying to get guidance and inspiration. So, if let's say you really want to get specific information on a topic, like what maybe take people through the process of activating a journey, and how do you set intention and create a safe environment to do so, and the steps in the journey.
Well, I always tell people to create some sacred space in their house where they can maybe build a little altar where they put a candle or some flowers or some stones from outside just to make their space a little bit sacred. And then in most shamanic cultures around the world, some form of percussion is used to change the brain waves of the shamanic practitioner or the shaman who's journeying from a beta state, which is an ordinary state of consciousness. It's our usual thinking state, into what's known as a theta state. And it's in the theta state where the shaman has the ability to travel into the invisible realm. So there's been lots of research about that in modern times of why is it that so many people around the world use some form of percussion when they do shamanic journeying work. It's because it actually changes brain waves to allow people to move out of an ordinary state of consciousness and move into the invisible realms. And so we start with sacred space, and we start with doing some preparation, because you really can't go from doing your emails or running into the house from work and throwing off your shoes and going into a journey. There needs to be that bridge between your ordinary life to, okay, now I'm moving into a sacred space. And how shamans did that is through singing and dancing. They did a lot of singing and dancing until they started to notice that their own state had changed and that they were now moving into the invisible realms and working with their helping spirits. And so I sing for about 20 minutes before I journey, and definitely before I do any healing work on people. And then I set my intention, and we all set our intention. Do we want to ask the helping spirits for some healing for ourselves? Do we want to ask a question for another person? Do we want to ask, how can I improve my relationship with somebody in my family or at work? How can I improve the quality of my work life? How can I be in service to the environment right now? I'm really unsettled by what's happening due to the political events. What do I need to know from a spiritual perspective that I can't see with my ordinary eyes that will help to bring me back into a place of centered and balance? These are just some examples. People can really journey on anything because the helping spirits show us where to step. They light our way. They'll perform healings on us all along the way, and they'll help us improve our relationships with ourselves and others. And I've had many students teach their children how to journey and bring this practice into their families with fabulous results of just relationships changing on a really beautiful level. And then the ceremonies change us. They change our inner landscape. They change our collective. The group support. Can you imagine having hundreds of people holding you in love and light no matter what you're going through in life? I mean, it's just really beyond what most of us can imagine. And in this way, we learn how to stay centered and balanced with the events that continue to happen in our outer world, and we can process our feelings and learn how to stay focused on personal and collective work that is needed right now, because we get so distracted, and shamanism and our helping spirits can really remind us that we have to stay focused on our desired outcomes, and focus is really a big key in having successful work using shamanism. And the spirits are so patient with us. They know where you're at. They're giving you an individualized lesson plan that they're not giving to anybody else. And so they work with you step by step with whatever intention that you need, but they also bring in an amazing amount of humor. And I remember in one of my very, very, very first journeys I ever did, I went to what's called the lower world. There's the lower world, the middle world, the upper world that you can journey to, different territories that are known around the world. And I went to the lower world to see my power animal to ask him a question. And I get down to the lower world, and he's all dressed up in a maitre d' uniform, and he takes my hand and he escorts me to this table with a white tablecloth and a rose on the table, and he hands me a menu, and on the menu was questions that were questions that he was willing to answer for me. And he told me that I kept asking the wrong questions, and he was trying to help me to learn how to ask the right questions in my spiritual journeys. And so that's just an example of how the spirits try to get us to laugh a little bit more at ourselves and not always take ourselves so seriously, but it's really fun to see some of the puns that come through a journey and how the spirits try to get us to laugh.
That's great. It's a whole other world that can open up.
Yeah.
Great. Well, yeah, so what else do you feel like is important you want to share about shamanic journeying and just some of the basic principles before we share a bit about your upcoming program?
Well, again, I just really want to share that during these times, we're navigating so much turbulence and so many waves, and we're being pulled. Many of us are moving into a place of fear. We don't know what's going to happen, and the helping spirits, although they might not show us the future because the future is created by the present, they are going to come to us and really provide some very important healing help for all of us, but also to teach us how to move forward in our lives and how to navigate the waves that we all are going to have to navigate right now through more of a place of grace and ease. And so the practice of direct revelation is really crucial for the times that we're living in right now, because it really brings us to a place of feeling empowered. And many people feel, I don't have the ability to be able to create positive change on the planet right now. I don't know how to do that. And through the practice of shamanism, we are taught through our journey work and through the ceremonial work how we can work spiritually. And it's always been known that whatever manifests in the physical world starts in the invisible realms first. And so the helping spirits teach us of how to form our dreams in the invisible realms, and then how to manifest them into physical form on the earth. And to really, it's such a gift to be able to identify our authentic self and to be able to feed the light. It's important to remember what we feed grows. That's just an important principle in nature. And so as we learn how to feed more of the light in our own lives and for others and for the planet itself, we start to feel like we're really making a difference, and we are really making a difference. The spiritual work that we do does make a difference.
Beautiful. Well, let's take that. So I love the knowledge that you have and the clear, so much history and practice with this practice. So I'm really excited that we're going to go through your Shamanic Journey for Guidance and Healing program. So I want to share about this for a little bit, so those who want to go deeper and really take in the practice and develop a real relationship with these helper beings and sources of inspiration can do so. So it's really tried and true, and that there's a powerful global community that forms around this work. And as Sandra mentioned, it really creates quite an ambiance in which, when you have people around the world who are holding the highest and best for you and prayers for you, and this network of support is tremendous. Sandra, I'd love for you to just share about why you're doing this program, how people benefit, and take people on a little tour of the modules.
So in Module 1, I teach people the very first journey, and the first 2 modules I work with guided journeys just to get people going. And so in Module 1, we do a journey to the lower world to meet up with a power animal or another helping spirit or guardian spirit who is going to work with us. And then we do our ceremony to create our incredible altar room that people from the very first course are still posting on Facebook. I'm still on every Facebook page of every course that I've taught. We're still meeting at the altar room and doing work together, and so that's really beautiful. In Module 2, I guide people to meet up with a teacher in human form in the upper world and to experience some of the other territories in the hidden realms. And we do a ceremony for some personal healing where we call down the helping spirits to ask them to help us with some healing work. And in Module 3, we learn how to journey to beings in nature, like our favorite tree or rocks or crystals or an animal or a bird or an insect that we want to learn from. We have the ability to actually talk with them and to get guidance and to talk to the wind and to talk to the earth and to talk to fire and be inspired by fire. And water is such a beautiful practice, and so we learn how to do that in Module 3 and do some more ceremonial work. And in Module 4, we start to look at what is it that you want to dream into being? What's the dream that you're not allowing yourself to embrace because maybe you don't feel good enough or that you deserve it? And so we work with our helping spirits to help us to work on what is a dream that we want to manifest into our life. And then we do a fire ceremony, a group fire ceremony, where we all support each other as we bring our dreams to the fire, to ask fire to bring our dreams up to the creative forces of the universe to help us manifest them. And then in Module 5, we learn about a powerful daily practice that we can start to do to transform our problematic thoughts and to work with the power of words and the power of forgiveness. And so we do some journey work around that, and then we move into a fire ceremony to release a blocking attitude, a sabotaging attitude that would prevent us from actually manifesting the dream that we identified in Module 4. And in Module 6, I talk about the power of initiation, which we're all going through right now. What's happening on the planet right now is an initiation, and this is a huge topic, and so I can't say much about it, but it's a powerful, powerful module and a lot to learn about. When we're going through challenges, we're actually going through an initiation that sculpts our ego so that we can become more of a light in the world and a spiritual being. And then in Module 7, I introduce people to some of the medicine for the earth work that I teach, which I teach throughout all the 7 modules, but it's about how to go beyond your skin and your mind and to fully access your own spiritual light, and how you can use that practice to actually heal yourself on a physical and emotional level, how you can bring it into your healing practice with others. And we do a powerful ceremony to radiate light to the earth. It's very full.
Well,
it's very full.
It's an amazing program, and I know we just get rave reviews about it. And people, it's always a great sign when you have communities that are still active a year later after a course is completed, because the level of bonding and information and practice that's been shared is that deep. So, and I'll bring forward a few other things: recordings of every class session, and we do PDF transcripts for every single one, so you get word for word everything that Sandra's teaching, as well as things shared in the class. We also have a number of extra bonuses that I thought that are really great, want to bring your attention to. One is called Stories of Transformation, and that's a dialogue between Sandra and Don Oscar Miro Quesada, another one of our beloved shamanic teachers. He's Peruvian, and that's called Stories of Transformation. We have another bonus with Lynn Roberts and Sandra called The Healing Power of Nature. And then we also have one with Michael Stone on the practice of shamanism in the 21st century. So really great roster of other teachings and practices that allow you to deepen with the core of the work. And we also have today only, we have an extra special bonus, which we like to do as a way to encourage you to go and make a decision today. So take a little time to tune in and see if this is the right next step for you. And if you get a yes internally, then you get an extra bonus when you sign up today. So that's called Medicine for the Earth. It's an 80-minute video from Sandra. You want to share more about that?
Yeah, the Medicine for the Earth work is an incredible passion of mine, and it actually came out of my shamanic journeying work. My helping spirits taught me everything step by step, because I have a BA in marine biology, and I was always interested in how to reverse river pollution. And when I got into the practice of shamanism, what my spirit said to me is, you can use spiritual practices to reverse environmental pollution. And so they taught me step by step different practices of how to do that, the personal work that we have to do so that our outer world reflects back to us our own inner state. Once we clean up our own inner state, we'll start to see our outer world changing. And then also ceremonies that we can come together in community to perform in behalf of the earth and to heal some of the environmental pollution in local places where we live and globally around the world.
Well, this is it's an amazing program. So it's a powerful foundational skill set to learn to really integrate some of the shamanic wisdom, and no matter what tradition we practice in, whether we're Christian or Buddhist or Jewish or whatever we are, these are actually spiritual skills that are usable for us in a lot of different contexts for healing, for guidance, and it really is independent of belief systems. So it's a really useful spiritual training for everybody.
And it's not just a course for beginners. We do start from the beginning, and I do take you step by step, but in all the courses that I've taught for the Shift Network, people who are teaching shamanism, people who already have a full healing practice as a shamanic practitioner, sign up, because there's always a deepening that can come as we work together in a field of a supportive community. There's always something new to learn. Shamanism is a life path. It's not something you do for a certain amount of time. So that we have a real mix of people who are just stepping into the excitement of the power of shamanic journeying, and those who have been journeying for years and going deeper with their practice and getting some new things to work with.
Fantastic. There's so many amazing stories of transformation that come from this work, so it's really a blessing. So we're at the end of our time together, and Sandra, I want to offer my gratitude for this time. You're always fascinating to learn from, and thank you for that healing journey at the beginning to begin to dissipate some of the intense energies that are in the collective right now and helped us each access deeper resources for healing. anything remains on your heart that you want to share about particularly for folks who are considering joining you to go further?
Well, I just want to say that this is a time for us to stand strong together. This is really a time to come together in community and to work together. And the beauty of shamanism and working with the helping spirits is that they're so filled with unconditional love. And so it's such a joy for me to be able to bring people into a field of out of fear, where there's so much fear in our ordinary lives right now, into a place where you will only be receiving unconditional love from the helping spirits, from community, and from me. So it's just always exciting for me to teach this course. I've been teaching shamanic journeying now for way over 30 years, and I never get bored. It's always new for me. It's always so fresh for me. There's always so much excitement, and so I'm excited for all of you who choose to join in with us.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Sandra, and thank you all for joining and in this exploration of new frontiers of consciousness and healing. So thank you all, and look forward to seeing you, as many of you as are called, in the upcoming Shamanic Journey for Guidance and Healing. So thanks all, and have a blessed rest of your day. Goodbye.